So wait, what you're saying is that when it comes to flipping properties, there's a potential space for making a loss?
Of course, of course. Today, we're just going to be speaking about flipping properties, right? Flipping properties, there's this fuss about flipping properties that how do I buy my first property? How do I fix the property? What should I be buying, number one? Number two, at what price should I be buying? Number three, what are the pros and cons? Because most of the time, let's be honest, right? Most of the time when we're speaking property investing, we're speaking about rental properties, right? We don't normally speak about flipping properties or the other strategies that come with property investing. So now today we're going to be speaking about flipping properties. Now, can you just simply put, right, what is flipping properties?
When we're talking about flipping a property, I'm basically saying that I am buying either from a distressed seller or it's a distressed seller or a distressed property or even both. So basically what's happening in that situation is that the property is not in a good shape. So what we'll then do, we will then put in an offer based on the numbers. So that we can sell it at a higher price.
Yes. Now this is exciting for me, right? This is exciting for me because we are currently in a deal right now. I mean, this feels good to say. We're currently in a deal right now. We spoke about it on yesterday's live, and it was really exciting to actually be signing on an offer to purchase. But today is not about that, right? Today is about the 4 things that we need to be thinking about. So we're going to say the 2 pros and the 2 cons, and then we'll leave it up to you that do you want to be flipping properties or do you really want to stick to rental?
So wait, what you're saying is that when it comes to flipping properties, there's a potential space for making a loss?
Of course, of course. So now let's go deeper into the numbers, right? I'm just going to be it's not really deep. We're just looking at the numbers on surface value, right?
Yeah.
So say for instance, right now you put in 100,000 into a property, right? You buy this property, you bought it with the banks. The bank gave you 100%. Then you put in 100,000 from the perspective of.
Let's start it this way, right? Let's start it this way in terms of what did you buy the property for and what area, so that by the time they understand when I put in the 100,000, it's more in a chronological manner.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we buy the property for 350,000, right?
Okay.
We put in 100,000 of our money.
Okay.
So the 100,000 goes towards your transfer cost, and it also goes towards your renovations, right?
Okay.
So now the property, right, sells at 500,000.
Okay.
Right? Now considering also estate agent fees, right? So let's say estate agent fees would be the 500,000 multiplied by 8.5%. How much do you get?
Okay, so 500,000. Because I'm hoping that you guys have your calculators. You know, when you see the brothers, we need our calculators.
Calculators need to go out. So 500,000 multiplied by 8.5%, how much do you get?
So that means my commission to my estate agent. Guys, what are you getting? How much are we paying the estate agent?
So 8.5 multiplied by the 500,000. I think let's give it to people, man. They were not expecting it. So the 8%, right? 8.5% would be 42,000. So now we're saying that we bought the property for 350,000.
Yeah.
Right? Bought the property for 350,000.
Okay.
And then we had estate agent costs which amounted to 42,000. 500.
Yeah.
Right? 42,500. Now remember, there's also something that's called holding costs. So let me explain what holding costs is first. Holding costs are the costs that you're going to be incurring because you own the property. Remember, once the property is registered into your name, you are then liable for all of the costs that come with the property. So this would be bond, your rates and taxes, water and electricity. Now, if you're holding costs in total for this amount of time that you're going to be holding the property, say for instance that reaches to 30,000. We've renovated using 100,000, right?
Yeah.
We're good.
Let's use.
So it's 42,500.
42,500. Yeah.
Plus 30,000.
So the 42,500 is for the estate agent, and then the 30,000 is our holding costs, and then the 100,000 is how much we put in while we were fixing. So that amounts to
172,500. Right. 172,500.
Yeah.
This is the money that we put into the property, right? Now we sell this property. Oh, and interest.
Yeah.
Interest, right? So let's just keep the interest simple. Let's say that the interest was 9,000.
Okay.
So also add 9,000 to that 172,500.
Okay.
I'm sure for the people that are coming here for the first time, they're like, hey, what's going on here? What's going on? Guys, we're just running numbers and we're really understanding that what does flip actually happen, or what happens in reality when you're flipping properties. So flipping properties is buying properties below market value, fixing them up and then reselling them. So we add how much? 9,000, not 90,000.
9,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 9,000 plus 172,500, how much do you get now?
So I'm getting 818.
500. Okay, now it's coming together. Now the puzzle is coming together now, right? Now this is the amounts that I want you to understand, right?
Yeah.
So firstly, we said we bought the property at 350,000.
For sure.
Ne?
Yeah.
We bought the property at 350,000.
Yeah.
And then the total amount that we put into this property. So now considering renovations, also considering that, so we're considering renovations, number one. Number two, we're considering holding costs. So now if we were to hold this property, how much are we actually going to be spending?
Yeah.
And then the last one was the interest that we needed to put to give back to the bank.
Yeah.
So now in total, that adds up to 181,500.
I'm getting
181,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 181,500 plus the 350,000. How much do you get? Please pardon me.
So the 350 is how much we bought the property for.
Yeah.
And then now we know that we're all in at 531.
531,000.
Yeah.
531,000. Now this is where it becomes harsh. This is where property investing or flipping properties become harsh. Now that we've sold the property, remember we said that we sold the property for 500,000. And now we are all in without any profit. We are only breaking even. So breaking even means that our expenses and income are at the same point, right? It's 531,000 and we sold the property for 530,000. Now, as much as you did buy it below market value, or you were able to negotiate it below market value to 350,000, you are still making a loss of 31,000. So when your money comes back, it's going to be coming back as 150,000, right? Around 150,000. Now, the thing about people is that I don't keep stock of how much I put into the property. Now, here's where the problem becomes. If you don't keep stock of how much you had actually put into the property before you actually run your numbers, now the problem becomes that now that I got 150,000 back, I don't know how much I actually invested. Therefore, I don't know if I made a profit or a loss.
Yeah.
Now, that is the danger of flipping properties. So if you're thinking about going into flipping properties or going to go into any sort of property investing, always make sure that you understand that how much are you actually putting into the property, so that when the money comes back to you, you're able to separate that, okay, this is how much I actually initially had, and then this is how much I got in profit. If I didn't get any profit, then I need to understand that I made a loss of 31,000 in this particular case.
So it goes without saying that when it comes to property investing, especially under flip, you can make a loss. So please do not have that mentality of one can never go wrong when it comes to property investing. I'd like to speak about
But as much as we put in the negative, man, we also need to put in the positive, guys.
I mean, if you get it right, bro.
Hey, when you get it right, guys.
When you get it right.
Hey, you go around running and they'll tell everybody to start flipping properties. Because now people do make profits to up to 100,000.
Yeah.
Now, if you're looking at investing in one property for the past, say for instance, plus minus 6 months, and you're looking at getting 100,000 from that. If we're saying 100,000 now divided by
the 6 months.
6 months that I'm actually going in, 100,000 divided by 6, that's around 16,000 on a monthly basis if we were to actually spread it out through the months. So those are the pros and cons from the monetary perspective. Now, let's dive deeper into content, man.
Hey man, you know, one of the cons, right, is that it's expensive.
Yeah.
Flipping is expensive, guys. You need to...
I almost thought that you were going to say flipping expensive.
It's flipping expensive. Here's the thing, right? You just need a budget, and you don't want to be in a situation whereby you build the house half and then you're realizing that you do not have enough money to complete the project. The reason why we're putting this out is that especially when you go around the townships, or even it's not only townships, you see houses that are half built. And now it's not because because here's the thing, right? Especially when you're doing a double story. I remember even within our family, it was a situation whereby they're busy with something, and then now you got to the messed up part about this is that if you don't consult correctly, you get to realize the expenses whilst you're in the process. And this is terrible, because now if they will be telling you that the slab alone you need something like 50,000, like you're thinking like, oh, am I going to spend 50,000 on the slab alone? And we're not talking about tiling. Tiling is another expense, guys. Tiling is expensive. I remember the previous project that we did, we spent 50K on tiling. We spent 50,000 on tiling. So that tells you that if you do not budget correctly, or if you do not plan correctly, it's easy for you to slide into that example that we did before. So again, we'd like to emphasize that get the right guys so that they can look at the expenses and explain to you, because we need to understand something, that we are not contractors. It's good that one of my aunties is not on TikTok, right? So I'm going to expose her. These people that would be like they love micromanaging at work, and now they also want to micromanage with the projects, with them having little to no knowledge. That can turn the whole project south. Because now, yes, you are an accountant, which is good. We respect that. But now when it comes to now the building, if you do not have the necessary information, or if you do not understand, it's easy for you to be like, for instance, let me just give you one of the examples that we saw. Not in my family, right? It was one of those things whereby they went to a service provider. So for the concrete mix, when they were doing the slab, it was more of, how about we get a slab that's not already done? It's cheaper, right? It's cheaper. So the slab wasn't mixed already. So the slab, just to explain what the slab is when you're doing a double story. So it's that concrete thing that will make it solid, right? So what was happening is that, okay. Good. So what was happening is that there was two service providers. One service provider, they come with a truck, it's already mixed. It's just gonna hoy that thing there for about a couple of hours and then you're done. The second one was whereby you had to mix it yourself. So they'd come through, they hoy the sand there, and then you have to call the guys. So yes, when you're looking at this one whereby you're manually mixing this, it's cheaper. But now understand from the guy's perspective, your contractors, how much will you be charged? Because now if you'll be charged an additional 10,000 to 15,000 just to mix, then you do the math and you be like, but I should have just called a truck to hoy and then we sort it. So there's so many of these things whereby we need to rely. However, again, I still understand level that sometimes you get a crook who is a project manager who will try to be squeezing you. So that's just where the problem is. But for me, I've learned that let me get the best team so that they can advise me accordingly and I can save.
Yeah. Now, also something that I want to speak about, right, is the pro of having flip, right, as a strategy.
Yeah.
Now, I know that most of the people, right, even in this live, there's around 96 people. Even on this live, right, 96 or 94 or whatever the number is, from that number, I would say around 80% of people would want to rent out properties and they're not interested with the flip, right? Now, the reason why we always say that it's important for you to know both strategies, right? It's important for you to know flipping. It's also important for you to know renting. Now, this is the reason behind this. Sometimes it does happen that you need an exit strategy.
Yeah.
So exit strategy basically means that if I'm going to be purchasing a property, how can I get out of that deal without actually making a loss or making a minimum loss? Not without actually making a loss anyway, right? Now, if you're going to be renting out a property and it does happen that interest rates go up, right, the way they have been going up right now, if you were to sell this property that you own right now, would you still make a profit? If you won't make a profit, then stay away from that deal. That's what we always keep on telling our clients. Now, recently what happened is that we had a property that we are owning, interest rates went up, and now since interest rate went up, the property didn't make sense in terms of the renter, right? Now, when we sold it, we were still able to make a profit. Now, the primary goal might be rental. However, Even though the primary goal is rental, at the end of the day, if anything does happen wrong, we're able to flip it.
Yeah.
Even with the property that we're about to flip right now, if we were to rent it out, we'll still make a profit after everything is deducted. We'll still make a profit of around 2,000 if I'm not mistaken. Now, if you don't understand...
This 2,000 is on a monthly basis.
It's on a monthly basis.
When you're renting it out.
Yes. If I was to rent out the property on a monthly basis, after all expenses, I'll still be left with 2,000. Now, can you see what happened over there? If the property doesn't sell on time, this basically means that I can rent it out and I'll still be making a profit. But today we're speaking about flipping properties. Now, the reason why I like flipping properties, I know a lot of people will say that no, flipping you are going to be taxed heavily. Taxing heavily basically means that I'm making more money. Yeah. So now if I'm making more money, that means that I'm actually liquid as a company, right? Now we're looking at this from a business perspective. If I'm going to be liquid as a company, this means that I can go into the next deal as soon as possible. Now let's compare it to rental. Rental is more of your long-term strategy in terms of building your property. So say for instance, with the example that I was making right now, if I'm getting 2,000 on a monthly basis, yes, it is money, but after, let's say, 6 months that we're looking at, after 6 months, you'd have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You'd have 12,000. Whereas with the guy that's flipping the property, after 2 months, they'd have 100,000. Now, the question is that, looking at that 100,000 and looking at the 12,000, which one makes sense for you? Now, I don't want to convert everybody to flip properties. The reason why, please don't say that, this guy, he doesn't want nice things for us. The reason why is that we employ different strategies for different purposes, right? Now, it might happen that for me, flip does make sense because I have the time and I also have the money. Now, the problem might be that somebody doesn't have the money to be flipping properties. They can only buy the property or they don't have the time. Now, if you're looking at those two individuals, they would rather go into rental. However, at the end of the day, guys, remember, rental only makes sense when it's cash flow positive. If it's cash flow negative, then don't go.
I mean, it goes without saying what you said that, man, okay, man, before I even go to my point, right, I'd like to put it out there so that people can also understand the mentality behind it. Because when somebody's hearing 100,000 in profit, they're like, yeah, but I always wanted that M5.
Yeah.
Right. So let's put a break to it.
Okay.
In terms of, I need you to explain what was going on in your mind as an investor, knowing that you're flipping full time. And then let's just say that it's this 100,000 coming into your pocket, and then you're like, okay, now I've flipped this property, and then what is the next step? Is it more of I spoil myself? I've always wanted to go to Cape Town, or I've always wanted to go to Bali. What does one do, and where's your mentality when it comes to this profit?
Okay.
After 6 months. So it's after you've worked hard.
Yeah.
6 months has tried. We are there.
So click, bang.
Yeah.
The money comes in.
Yeah.
So what I do, I go to a restaurant, I buy myself a quarter. It's around 15 bucks. It's not that expensive. Just to say that, well done. After that, that whole money, I'm using it to reinvest. Now remember, if you don't reinvest your money, you're going to be in the same place. So now say for instance, you're taking this 100,000 and you're using the whole 100,000. This basically means that on the next deal, you might actually get a deal that won't even give you the 100,000. Because now remember, the deals fluctuate. Sometimes a deal will give you 100,000, some deals will give you 50,000, some will give you 70,000. Now, if you're going to be using this...
Some will give you negative 31.
Some will give you negative 31. Now, the problem is that if you're looking at this 100,000 and you're looking at spending the 100,000, chances are the next deal that you're going to go into, you're going to start from where you were on the previous deal. Now, what you want to do with this 100,000 is that you want to take it all, right? Take out that 15 rand to buy a quarter, and then that money that you have over there, you reinvest it in the next property. Now, this allows you to grow at a faster rate. Now, imagine if you had invested 100,000, you get 100,000, now you have 200,000 to invest. What does this mean for you for the next deal? If you're able to buy the same deal as the previous one, you're able to do 2 deals at a time.
Especially if your affordability does allow you.
Yeah.
Because now if affordability is at 400,000,
yeah,
it's still going to be a problem buying 350,000 properties.
Of course.
Yeah.
So now if affordability does actually allow you, then okay, let's go. However, looking at this 200,000, these will be enough for you to go into the next deal. Now, if you're going at now 2 deals at a time, you can only imagine that after those 2 deals are sold, what can you do with that money? So that's why I'm always saying that, guys, let's forget about soft life. We did promise that soft life, we're packing it on the side for a bit. we're going to do soft life after 5 years. So 5 years from now will be 2028. That's when we can start considering soft life. But for now, the whole 100,000 goes back into reinvesting. Still living the same lifestyle. Now still wearing the same shirt. Yeah, no.
No, I wanted you to really discuss that, because a lot of people do not consider the mindset of an investor. Like, I'm already thinking, because I can also take this to rental, because a lot of clients that we're having a conversation with, even if they are making a profit, it's more of, yes, I am getting money on a monthly basis for this, but now when I'm looking at what am I doing with that, I'm spending it. Now the question again is, but how is the business growing? We're not thinking that way in terms of the business needs to be sustainable. When I'm sitting with my accountant, I need to see a business model towards the numbers that we're having. And that is what we will be discussing on the 1st of April. So if you have not bought your ticket as yet, you're going to be left out, guys. You're going to be left out.
Imagine if we're on fire right now. Imagine what then on stage. So we are just, let's go, guys. So if you are a property investor, you're planning to become a property investor, or you even want to purchase a property, consider coming through to the on the 1st of April. Because on the 1st of April, man, it's going to be guns blazing. The whiteboard will be there. We'll be speaking everything about property investing, how to invest in property, and how to position yourself as a property investor. And we'll also be having Finance with K, that will be speaking about how do you actually structure yourself as an individual to put yourself in a better situation, whereby when you do apply for a home loan, you'd be actually in a better position then.
Yeah. I'm happy that, going back to the topic at hand, right? Your tickets, you can get them in the link in our bio. You'll just see there's the first one that says the property workshop. It will be in Bryanston. It's an in-person property investing workshop. Going back to the topic, right, Level, as I did mention, we hardly get content of, as an investor, how should I be thinking? Or what is the business model that comes with property investing? Because I know with a lot of our clients, when you're like, okay, let's go, guys, let's see the numbers, let's speak about them. Yes, I understand you've got 4 properties or you've got 6 properties, but let's speak about the numbers behind it. And you find out that people do not understand that. So now it's a challenge now even to say that, is this buzz, when you're sitting down with them, to say that, how sustainable is the business itself?